film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 18, Saturday partly sunny with a high near 26, and Sunday partly sunny with a high around 24. Step into Fort's a Children's Theater Company. It's a fort-building wonderland where theatrical elements, evolving light and soundscapes, and towering towers of cardboard boxes set the scene for shared creative play. That's Fort's, now through April 5th at Children's Theater Company. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Karagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, it's Friday, and we have our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh, and her little grandbaby on, and it's always great to see you. And geez, thank you so much for spending time with us. And I know it's been a busy week already. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hamatakiape, everybody. Yeah, you can see the dark circles under my eyes. Oh. It was week one of the state legislature here in Minnesota. We opened session on Tuesday, and opened it in a good way. Actually, literally, the morning started with a rally for Rise and Repair, and we talked about the importance of protecting our wild rice. I'm carrying some bills this year around recognizing wild rice as it already is our state grain, but adding some protections around it and recognize it as an entity, and then some legislation around protecting the waters that they grow in. So that's how I started out the morning, but then we had our opening session in the House, or in the Senate, where we welcomed back Senator Hoffman. He was our state senator that there was the attempted assassination after the murder, and then came the murder of Melissa Hortman over, and so Senator Hoffman joined us back in the Senate. His wife Yvette was there, and we recognized them, welcomed them back. Senator Hoffman took 9 bullets to his body, and his wife took 8 bullets to her body in that attempted assassination. And fortunately, his daughter she went home that night. She didn't live at home, but
Good day to be indigenous.
And was there when they arrived and shot Melissa Hortman's husband, Mark. shot Melissa Hortman and their dog. And that started the manhunt for him. And he was eventually connected, or he was eventually found and, of course, charged with those murders and those attempted murders. But you know, it's really freaky in these days when we have masked ICE agents running around, especially for legislators. In the guy's car, Bolter's car, they found a list, kind of like a hit list. And, you know, my name was on that. My address was on that list. And could have been, you know, he'd been to a number of other legislators' homes, all Democrats. But mine was, I did not live that far from Melissa Hortman. So I could have been that next one. So, you know, when we think about the trauma of that and then having all these ICE agents moving around, I get really nervous about getting out there and speaking up, even though I definitely am and have. But, you know, I went around every morning. I would go to all the different schools in my district to help patrol and watch ICE. And one of those last days that I was out there, one of the ICE agents rolled his window down as I'm standing outside, you know, on the sidewalk. And he says, "Oh, good morning, Mary." And, you know, this was right outside of school. So they are patrolling. They are like circling like sharks. And they knew me. They had identified me. And that, of course, makes a person very nervous.
Yeah. Wow.
And I kind of got off topic so our first day, we, you know, opened up in a good way and recognized Senator Hoffman. And then we went over to the House chamber where there was a ceremony to remember Melissa Hortman. And I was really, really honored to read one of the whereas sentences. And it was very poignant for me because it recognized their work in servicing rescue dogs, which I did for 5 years. And I know Wendy is very much into that.
Yeah.
So my sentence recognized the work that Mark and Melissa had done on behalf of that. And I didn't choose that sentence. They just assigned it to me. So I found that to be very serendipitous, but very emotional. The governor, the lieutenant governor, Steve Simon, our Secretary of State, our auditor, were all there to honor Melissa and Mark and their dog. And so that's how we started out on Tuesday and moved right into things on Wednesday morning. I held my first hearing as the chair of Education Finance, and we talked about the effects that ICE is having on our schools. And it was very heart-rendering. It was incredible testimony from administrators, from teachers. I read a statement from a family in my district. Our GOP members are like, well, there's no families or students here to talk about this. You know, we tried, but they are so nervous and so reluctant to put themselves out there for fear of being targeted. But we did have non-parents parents that are not parents of color testify and share some of the work that they've been doing. And it was, you know, Minnesota is just doing that incredible work behind the scenes, boots on the ground, non-governmental, community, neighbor to neighbor, teacher to student. It's amazing. And I can't tell you how proud I am of that.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And I did happen to see some of the testimony. One was a teacher, but she didn't come as a teacher. She came as a community member and talked about all the ways that this is affecting our young ones. It's going to affect our young ones for a long, long time.
Absolutely. And, you know, I totally recognize that we are going to have a lot of work going forward to address mental health issues and of course, trying to get kids back into school, back into the, like the bosom of their teachers and the other students, but the mistrust, and as Indigenous people, we understand that mistrust of locations, schools, in this instance, schools are stepping up incredibly, but just the fear of going to school and being taken still exists, even though there's supposed to be a withdrawal of agents, and I think things have quieted down. They're still there, and they're just as insidious as they were. And so I'm not holding my breath. But as a state legislator, we have to, that will be our focus, looking at attendance and then the mental health needs of not only our students, but our staff members and our administrators. In my district, my superintendents were targeted like crazy. Yeah.
Hey, we are here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with our friend State Senator Mary Kunesh, and geez, we were talking about your first week back, but also I just want to swing back to what you were talking about with these, I don't know how I can put this other than these sneaky ICE people calling out your name. That really, for me, would freak me out.
Well, it did. It did. It absolutely did. And, it's a form of intimidation. They have access to databases and information about all of us, and they use it. And I've heard from so many people, and we've seen it in action, where if there is a community observer maybe like in their car or following ICE, they will stop and come back and use your name, or they'll basically drive you to your house so that you know that they know where you live, or they might drive you to, somebody else's in your family's house as a form of intimidation. We've heard about how they were after a guy who is a mechanic, and they knew he was home, so they put 2 decoys out in front of his house, 2 women who acted like their car was broken. And here's this guy, out of the goodness of his heart, goes out there to help them, and they're actually ICE agents, and they get him there. Or I have a manufactured home community in my district that they just continually patrolled all the time. And finally, the president or the chair of that community, because it's a co-op, it's private owned, finally stood up to them and said, look, this is private property. You cannot be here. You can't be on these grounds. And so they'd park, across the street from it, or from the entrance or exit. And then one Saturday, they came around dressed in regular, normal clothes with bags of groceries. And they went up to the door, rang the doorbell. Oh, I have groceries for you. And knowing that if those people opened their door, they would be able to then access them and go into their homes. As long as you don't open the door, they can't go in. But the minute that you open the door, then they have access to you. And so luckily that community had really strong, information systems and communication systems, and they were able to tell people, don't open your door. But, there's drones flying around. There's all kinds of, really insidious, immoral attempts to get at people. So they continue to do that work. And the worst part is they do not have the legal documents to do that. They don't have the search warrants, or they don't have arrest warrants that are signed by a legitimate judge. They don't even, in the beginning, they would walk around with this paper, like, here it is. Now they don't even have the paper. And so we at the legislature are putting together a whole slew of legislation that at the state level requires them to do these things. Now, can we enforce them? That might be a real tough thing to do, because they certainly outrank and outnumber our public safety here in Minnesota, but it sends a strong message, like, you can't wear masks. You cannot wear masks in Minnesota if you are a public safety person, unless you're, like during COVID or something like that. And that would go for federal government. There used to be federal laws that there are certain off-limit places, such as government centers and schools, where ICE would not be able to come and do their work. But the Trump administration withdrew that, which is why they're constantly, like vultures circling our schools, hoping for parents to, drop their kids off. And then what they'll do is they'll go through the turnaround. You know how some schools, you drive in, you drive up to the front, you drop your kid off, go out. They get in there and they block it so that people can't get in or out. It's just been, and it's still continuing, to this day. And
well, right now I'm looking at iceout.org, and there's 30 observed ICE agents in just the Twin City area here, and also there's active ones. So really, have they gone away or what?
No, they haven't gone away, and I think that they have spread out even more. I actually sit on the agriculture committee, and we had our first hearing this week too. And I asked the question, like, how has this affected our agriculture. And we know that the Trump administration has already pulled back and restricted all kinds of funding to farmers. And now with these tactics, legitimate migrant workers that kind of move through the country, depending on the agricultural season, they're expecting them not to come back. And there have been raids at farms, raids at, agricultural production centers. And even when these workers have the proper immigration and work papers, they're still intimidated. They know that is not protection from being taken by ICE, flown to Texas or wherever, held for days on end, left wherever they want to leave them once they find out that they're legit, and then have to find their way back to wherever their space is. This is all on the cost is all on that individual. And it's thousands upon thousands of dollars. And so it's not just our schools, it's not just the streets of the Twin Cities and the large metropolitan areas. It's also out in small towns. I mean, the superintendent of Wilmer came and testified about, how ICE has affected the students and the staff and the attendance. So yeah, they're still here. They haven't left.
Well, I know you've been busy today with your grandchildren, but did you see, and I'm kind of switching subject here to make sure I talk to you about this, is that the finally the Supreme Court does something, and they voted 6-3 against Trump's tariffs, which when you talk about the farmers, it really, really affects them.
Yes. It is amazing. And my sister sent me just a blurb from their final statement. And I'll just read a little bit. It says, "For those who think it's important for the nation to impose more tariffs, I understand that today's decision will be disappointing. All I can offer them is the most major decisions affecting the rights and the responsibilities of the American people, including the duty to pay taxes and tariffs, are funneled through the legislative process for a reason." So just making these grandiose decisions without the legislature is absolutely illegal. And finally, these judges and these courts realize that they have allowed him to go way too far on too many things. I mean, he's like pledging $10 billion to this new peace group that he's created, of which he is the chair. I mean, imagine $10 billion. What if we put that in education? Healthcare. I mean, come on. Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, I hope federally, when we get our blue tsunami, which we have to talk about and keep talking about, is that, we do end up with free health care, because it's not free, but hey, how about if we just make one less B-2 bomber? That's $1 billion that could take care of everybody's, still have your 10, 20 of them, but just make one less.
Yep. Yeah. Pull back one of those private jets that they're all driving around in, things like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's upside down world right now, and it's amazing. But common sense has to prevail here, and hopefully it will. And one of the things is too, Wendy just got a coffee cup in the mail from her best friend, and it says, "Is he dead yet?" And we already know who. It's so sad. We already know who that coffee cup's about. Because worldwide we are a big joke here, and I think people think that we all feel the same way he does.
Yeah. Well, Olympians made it very clear that not all Minnesotans follow him. I don't know if you watched the Olympics. I love the Olympics. But I have international friends, and they send me all kinds of articles from overseas about the ridiculousness of of Trump and his administration. And, you know, remember, they're going to take Greenland. Now they're going to recreate Gaza in the way that they want to, not the Gazan people, but the way they want to. It's just like what we did to our American Indian people. We put you on reservations, and now we're going to tell you how to live.
Exactly. Hey, we only got 10 seconds left. Can you come back for another segment?
I think we can. These little guys are behaving themselves. So
okay, we got to do it quick. Great. We're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're going to take a quick break right after this. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org. Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP. and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
And I'm Hadley. We're two of the very first listeners, and we're still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and geez, really great conversations about what's happening here politically, and also just what's happening with our people here with ICE still here, still trying with different tactics and things like that. State Senator, I just got to mention this maybe once or twice here. One of the Ende Young has their powwow this weekend, and just letting people know it's at Johnson High School Saturday and Sunday. You can Google it, but Johnson High School in St. Paul. That's an unbelievable powwow, and it's returning our children and things like that. Where Ende Young does an unbelievable job with our unhoused young ones, and they have a couple areas there. And I've known Sherry Reimers, who's the executive director since I was like 13 years old. So just a shout out to them. The powwow's happening. Let's talk a little bit more. It's just amazing that this gray cloud still over Minnesota. Minnesota and Minneapolis and St. Paul in particular have been doing an unbelievable job of pushing back. I just sit back and think about this, and I'm really happy and proud to live in this state, but also the people that do live in this state and in the Twin Cities in particular.
Yeah, definitely proud to be Minnesotan. And you'll see all kinds of statements out there like you picked the wrong state to do that to this too.
Yeah.
They just here we are, Minnesota nice, but not Minnesota ice. And the way that the community just came together, there were organizational systems set up for what could be or what might happen, but the way that so many community members just jumped into action, and these communication systems that we have, people who are managing them, administering them, they're like on top of this all day long, every day. It's so amazing. And when there are unique needs in our community, for food, for car seats, for clothing, for transportation, all of these things, where can I find immigration support or immigration lawyers? Or one of the things that I've been it's really interesting. I'm a notary, so I have one of those little notary stamper things.
Yeah, good to know.
I'd never used it. I think I maybe used it once. I think I had used it once, but I can't even tell you how many DOPA forms. That's the document to like allow somebody else to take authority of your child should anything happen to you. I can't even tell you how many DOPA forms I notarized, in the last 2 months. It was just crazy. I hadn't used it ever. I had to go find it. I was like, is it in my office? Is it at home? Where is this thing? And now I keep it with me because I kind of don't even know when somebody's going to contact me and say, can you go notarize this? So those are the sort of systems that we've put in place at the drop of a hat. And I think because we stood strong, because we aren't giving up, and it's exhausting work. I mean, you're not in Minnesota and you're not part of these things. You have no idea how exhausting mentally, emotionally, physically, financially it is. People are just, opening up their pockets to help with rent, to help with food, to help with legal assistance. It's been so phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm wondering too, and again, my ADHD is kicking in here. We talked a little bit about the tariffs, and I feel like too, once a price is set, it never goes back. So these tariffs may help the big businesses, and hopefully they'll help the farmers, for goodness sakes. That but it's still a really hard for the economy and for our relatives to still buy things, because those prices are probably going to be the same regardless of the tariffs now.
Yeah, I mean, it'll take a while for all of that to kind of simmer down. But in the meantime, yeah, in a lot of ways, just like COVID, when all the like construction equipment and construction materials went sky high, they maybe came down a little bit, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to cut their profits, just for for all of us.
Right.
And it will take a while to rebuild those partnerships internationally. The president bailed out Venezuela? Because we weren't doing that, sending them the stuff that they want. But, some of the crops that we sent over to Asia or around the world, or even just up to Canada,
right.
They're going to be really nervous. Like, we still have 3 more years with this president. Who's to say he doesn't pull some more shenanigans? So the feeling of trust internationally has been broken in so many different ways. So trying to build this back up, I don't know. I'm very nervous again.
Yeah, well, thank goodness too we have an election coming up, and also it's going to be pretty difficult for us in the House and Senate right now. The Senate's 1 vote Democrat and then tied. So it's hard to get anything done because it seems so the red seems so polarized. It's still following this orange one all the way to the end.
Yeah, it's I feel for our House members because they're tied. I mean, they just had a hearing around making sure that ICE stays out of schools. Like I said, don't wear the masks. Some of these intimidation things, and our GOP members in the House wouldn't vote for it. So it failed by a tied vote, certainly party lines. And even when I had the hearing and we didn't have any bills, talking about ICE in school and how it's affecting our kids in our schools, our GOP members say, "Oh, come on, you just have to play nice and work with these ICE people, and then they wouldn't be doing those things," right? And then we did have, the usual suspect, Senator Lucero, basically saying the big problem is in school finance is that these kids, these families, these immigrant families and migrant families are taking the money from your schools. And that's why we can't have all the nice things that we want. And, you have to remember that these immigrants, whether they have the legal documentation or not, but are working in our state, are paying taxes.
Right.
They pay taxes and they get nothing from it. They don't get health care. They don't get any of the benefits that we receive, other than a free education for our kids, which is another bill that we're doing. Like, no matter what your status, you get a free education in Minnesota. But it's just horrible that this will continue. And I kind of expect it to continue through the rest of session, the rhetoric that, those dirty, stinking immigrants are stealing everything from us. And they're the evil, they're the liars and the cheaters and the murderers and the rapists. I don't think so. And so here we go.
Well, it's sad here, and we only got like a couple minutes left here, and that other countries are now going after
Robert,
people.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? And it's just so amazing that other countries are going after, and I like to call it Jimmy Kimmel or calls it the Trump Epstein files now, because he's in there more than Epstein, that other countries have to do our dirty work, and that makes us look really bad. And I mean, the Department of Justice is the Department of Revenge, and by putting this big picture of Trump up on there, it really shows everybody that really this is Trump's Department of Justice.
Yeah, he has his own vision, his own world of what is just. And basically it's whatever he says or he decides in that moment. And whatever pertains to the rest of us does not pertain to him in any way, shape, or form. And so, you know, like I said, we have 3 more years of this, and I just don't even know, you know, we just don't know what to expect, which is part of their strategy, is keep us on our toes, keep us wondering what's going to happen next.
Well, you're going to have a busy week, and I really appreciate you staying another segment. We only got like a minute left here. Anything that we should know about what's happening at the Capitol this week?
Yes, I have a hearing on the Equal Rights Amendment on Monday in our Public Safety Judiciary Committee. So that's really exciting. I always say this isn't your grandma's ERA. This is much more inclusive and expanded. And I'm really excited to do it.
Well, thank you so much, State Senator, and thank you for staying strong for all of us and reporting what's going on around Turtle Island and the state of Minnesota. Big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much.
You bet. We'll be like Honka, everyone.
Right on. We'll see you next week. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations. Say no to the hunts. Oh, no.
Yeah. Ooh. The Picnic of Baskets by Yogi. Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, reintroduce. And Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years. And she has been doing her sacred portion of the animals. This is going on almost 10 years now.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
I was a young man when we started
Me
this show.
too.
You're a young man?
Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I am a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And it's always my pleasure to do that. I have some good news today. So Humane World for Animals and other important animal advocacy groups have been working really hard, and finally something has passed. Yeah, good news. New York Fashion Week has officially gone fur-free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
this is a major win for animals everywhere by choosing innovation and compassion over cruelty. One of the world's most influential fashion events is showing that style and kindness can go hand in hand. So, Humane World for Animals wants to thank everyone who raised their voices with us, supported humane fashion, and helped us push the industry towards more ethical future. Your commitment is changing what is possible. And here's to progress and building a future where animals are never exploited for fashion. The policy will start in New York Fashion Week in September 2026. So,
wow, that's good
yeah,
news.
it's really huge. It really is. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, a lot of big fashion. I'm not into the big fashion, Vogue and Chanel and Gucci. I'm not into any of that. Names don't mean anything to me, but they do to a lot of people. So, it's really important, and a lot of them are going for free. So I'm really happy about that. Another thing we have here is every year, Humane World for Animals comes out with a scorecard. So it's a scorecard that has your Senate your Senate legislators and your House representatives and what they voted on. So did they vote good or bad as far as animals legislation that we brought forth, right? So we brought a lot of good policies that we wanted passed. And I'm just finding Minnesota. So one person who does always very, very well, we're really happy, is Tina Smith. So yeah, cool. Tina Smith did great. And her score, if you want to guess, Robert, what do you think her score is? And it's like,
is it out of 100?
It is out of 100. Yeah.
Well, you've been bringing this up over the years, so I'd say 95.
Okay, she's at 100%.
Wow.
Yes. So Tina Smith has been fantastic, and she supports our humane legislation that we bring forth to her. Amy Klobuchar, what would you guess her score would be if you had to guess?
60.
Less.
Wow.
Yeah, 50%.
And that's what's going to happen too if what's her name takes over. Not Peggy Flanagan, but the other one. What's her name? That's going against Peggy.
I don't know.
She's just like Amy Klobuchar.
Oh,
She's in the middle
okay.
of the road voting against stuff that us progressives are.
Sure. I know. So anyway, if you go online and you just Google Humane World for Animals scorecard, you could go on and look up your your people. You could see how they voted for animals. And here's one, Betty McCollum. Betty McCollum, that's our House representative, right? She's awesome also. She got a score of 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ilham Omar, 86%. So really good. So thank you, Ilhan. Appreciate that. I'm going to be making phone calls and thanking our people who did really well and ask them to continue to do well. And I'm also going to call the ones who really didn't score very well and ask them if they can do better. We'd appreciate that. So making phone calls also help, because you know what? It's really important what the constituents really have to talk about and what they feel is important. So the more you call them and leave them messages about what's important to you, the more they'll care about what is important to you. So this morning, I really, really wanted to sleep in. I wanted to sleep in because I was out with friends last night. And anyway, I wanted to sleep in. But anyway, Robert got up this morning and left the house because he had to take care of our car, which got smashed the other day. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But anyway, different show. So I'm laying in bed and I'm hearing, we don't have a cat. Let me just say that.
We used to have three of them.
We used to have 3 cats. This is our first time since
forever.
For 24 years that we have not had a cat. Anyway, we have our dog Wanda and everybody knows about her. But anyway, I'm laying in bed and we have this neighborhood cat who his name is Goliath, and he shows up at our door and comes in our house and visits us, and he's like a really cool, fun cat. But anyway, I was laying in bed really wanting to sleep in, and I'm just hearing this cat meow and meow and meow, and he was really meowing really long, loud meow. So I was like, oh my God. So I had to get up out of bed to let the cat who doesn't live here out because he wanted to go out. And this cat is wild. He ran across the street after a squirrel, which I'm really, thank God. I think he's just trying to play, and the squirrel was really fast. But he climbed up half the light pole outside.
Well, you have that hut out there.
And I was yelling at him from the house, Goliath, get down.
Well, you have that hut out there too, and he came busting out of there.
Yeah.
Because it's heated.
It's
Again,
a
it's
heated hut. Yeah. And
for possums and raccoons and cats.
And yesterday I went and I put food in the hut. Because I want to attract animals to go in so that they see it and they know that it's warm and that it's a place for them to stay. What was that noise you're making there, Robert?
It was a Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I threw some food in there yesterday, some seeds, and a black cat ran out. So there was a black cat in there, and I felt bad for startling him because it was really cold yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is where Goliath was. So he was inside the warm hut, and then Robert goes out to open the door to throw seeds or
leave. I was leaving.
You were leaving the house, and he ran from inside the hut into our house. So he must have been cold. But again, I mean, he has a tracking device, and his owner knows where he is. Apparently, he was a outdoor cat for a really long time, and this woman adopted him or ended up with him somehow. I don't know how. And she said, I'm not really crazy that this cat goes out. If it was my choice, he would be an indoor cat. But I mean, I can imagine living with him and him wanting to go out. I mean, his.
Well, you went through that with that with Clyde years ago.
My cat Clyde, he was an indoor-outdoor cat, and he would just come home with fights and scratches and fur pulled out. And my stepfather ran him over in the driveway with the car, and we brought him to the vet. And then after that, I just said, "That's it. He's going to be an indoor cat." And I'm telling you, for 6 months, that cat put us through hell. It really put us through hell. I mean, he ripped through screens to get out. He'd cry throughout all the night. It was like horrible. But finally, he acquiesced and said, okay, I'm going to be an indoor cat. And he ended up being an indoor cat, and he ended up being fine. But it was pure hell that we had to go through to get him to be that way.
Wow. Good story.
Yeah.
Good stories. Hey, you guys, winter in Ochapi, Christmas in Ochapi tonight and all week.
We'll be there tonight.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to us. And if you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. We're still here. We are the seventh generation. Free Leonard Peltier. Thank God he's already been freed.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you next week.